Hello Galactic family. Greetings, Master. I am METATRON, Angel of Light, and, in this session, I am accompanied by Tiburon of the Crystalline Service. And so we continue with the second part of this channeling about the mechanisms and art of creative life. Master, the reason many books and teachings about manifestation do not work is that they do not have an understanding of the relationship between the deeper mind and the three-dimensional brain. Many refer to the manifestation of financial wealth and, in most cases, the only one that really manifests it is the publisher, for the sale of the books. Indeed, many of the esoteric teachings on this subject fail to include the difference between the law of attraction and the law of belief. They are not the same thing. As we said in the first part of this channeling, you attract what you love and what you fear. Wherever you focus your thoughts, it is there that similar thoughts are magnetically attracted. In addition, the nature of your thoughts affects your vibrational frequency, and high frequency is the basic, initial reference point for the connection of the brain to the divine mind. Undisclosed factors include the need to maintain a sufficient level of life force and belief. Therefore, without the exact understanding of such processes, which are not usually explained in the texts, there are gaps in the flow, which prevent the play and will be given. The question is a bit more complex. My dear, even as you expand your mind, you must optimize and balance your auric field to the crystalline aspect that allows creation to work. We tell you that the ideal connection between the higher mind and the three-dimensional brain requires an intact etheric energy field. If you have an unbalanced, depressed or frightened ego, your energy field is at short circuit, or polar reversal levels, and the currents of vital energy needed to connect to the higher source mind are confused, troubled. And there's more, the fundamental evolutionary principles to access the law of creation are 1. Expanded programming of the brain, from knowledge to belief to releasing the control of the ego personality to the mind-divine aspect of higher consciousness. 3. Understand and maintain the balance of the auric circuit and the ovoid unit metatronic keys. 4. Activate the crystalline aspect of Marikana in pituitary, pineal and timo. 5. Maintain constant balance and clarity. It is essential that you understand that the three-dimensional brain, the ego personality aspect embodied in its three-dimensional physical biology, is programmed to survive in a primary coding. The code of survival is that it carries the warning signs that involve precautions often experienced as fear and doubt. The frontal mind, the ego personality aspect, is created to dominate your third-dimensional consciousness so as to allow linear time flow and survival on the physical plane. The challenge is that to rise above three-dimensional consciousness, you must move out of ego consciousness and flow into the divine mind within the seat of the soul, the portal to the divine mind. The brain is in the third dimension, the mind is of the higher dimension, and within the higher mind is its divinity. The brain functions in three-dimensionality and, in a way, its three-dimensional programming is dominant in the field of duality. It works in a more limited paradigm and, to expand to the mind, you must function out of the box in order to mobilize your true creativity. Clarity in your objectives. The clarity of definition is very important in creation. Humans only partially engage their desires through dreams of the kind "someday I will." This is like partially programming a computer. No wonder it does not work, does it? Someday I will travel, one day I will be rich, one day I will realize my dreams. These, then, become several perhaps spaced apart. So everything you are trying to create always stays at a distance, in that sometime you have programmed. You did not define it, you did not put it concisely in the present. Yes, the dream is the first part, But it must be clear, concise and followed by precise actions. Your brain has two hemispheres, one deals with the intellect and the other with the feeling. The brain works through chemical activations and stimuli. The intensity and clarity of a program of thought are extremely important for it to become a belief. Your brain is a living three-dimensional computer. Should be treated with defined terms. It will not work with maybe or can I? For example, if a person were taken into a deep hypnotic state and asked, "Can the mind heal the sickness of this body?" The answer would be yes. But this is the empirical answer to the possibility or not of the mind to heal the body. It is not the cure. The noble way. Every thought produces a biochemical enzyme. This enzyme works with the physical and the non-physical, in sync with the programming. An exception to the concept of PLEIADIAN will be given is that unless the request is channeled from the inside, in sync with the higher mind, it may have little effect. Thus, a human being on the spiritual path, in a relatively advanced state of consciousness, can well neutralize, from a higher posture, desires that would hinder his progress. So there is a natural filtering for those who are in a state of grace. Goals should be worthy. The noblest of goals is to learn the mysteries of life, to acquire wisdom and mastery. But to reach these goals, you will have to face certain pressures and tensions that are in the way. This requires discipline and will. If you are lazy, you will not get there. You must take on the task to achieve it. Therefore, attempts to create a life without challenges may be in absolute conflict with a learning life intention. Goals have challenges. Master souls do not plan challenges-free incarnations. Mind is the builder. The mind is the builder, and the focused willpower is the activator. The more responsibility you assume appropriately, the more your frequency will increase. Learning to program the brain is essential. The brain is a biological computer with three-dimensional filters and three-dimensional programs that are implanted from birth. Unless you were born in a Tibetan monastery, your schedule came from what we will call socio-cultural doctrines. Most programming teaches you to accept a very limited view of human existence and human capacity. You are taught to believe only in what you can detect sensory, through sight, hearing, taste, smell and touch. Beloved, know that the physical world of matter that you see around you is a set of images that you interpret and project sensorially. They are received by the eyes and transferred through the optic nerve to the brain. What is received stimulates the neurons, provoking a response through a biochemical reaction of a thermal nature. As you generally believe in what you see, smell, taste, or listen to, you accept it as real. And then decide whether it's nice to you or not. Then the brain releases neurons related to like or dislike. This is how your reality and attraction work. You are initially attracted to people who are captivating, have a melodious voice and smell good. Your sensitive physical body says yes or no. Thus, the brain has ideas and accepts or rejects them, according to the parameters of the program. In fact, the brain is unable to differentiate a real event from an imagined event. In the multidimensional mind, the two are the same. And although the human brain is capable of receiving information and frequencies far above the third dimension, most humans today are programmed, from adolescence, to automatically reject anything above the third dimension of sensory conformity. In this way, the brain only receives what you allow, what it is programmed, consciously or unconsciously, to receive. In a limiting paradigmatic programming such as this, the only parts that are activated are the right and left hemispheres of the upper brain and portions of the lower cerebellum, composing and imposing a level of activity of less than 10% to 12% of the brain. Brain activity and processes in the neocortex of the cerebral hemispheres govern primary activity in the physical realm. Most 90% of your brain remains unused, deactivated, programmed for numbness. This is because any thought that does not fit into its cultural or dogmatic programming is automatically diverted. Here's one of the main reasons the law of attraction does not work for you: limited belief coming from limited thought programs. To have a narrow view is to be close to the grandiose possibility that anything can exist beyond the small range of frequency that can be perceived through the five senses of your three-dimensional physical body. So how do you expand your brain? How to open your mind? How to reschedule your computer? The answer is simple, but apparently a difficult barrier to overcome. All this can be done. And through analysis, study and willingness to open up. The very desire to expand attracts powerful frequencies of thought that will enable expansion. And then, every time you openly accept an idea that is beyond your accepted parameters, this idea will activate another part of your brain for proper use. Each time you do this, the expansive idea will offer itself as a transmitter to expand your field of belief and allow for greater cosmic reasoning. This process, repeated sincerely, will attract new ideas, with study and meditation. Likewise, this cycle will activate other parts of your brain for further expansion, reprogramming and re-reception, accepting the clear mind of Americana. When you have no doubt, when you know absolutely, this is belief. It is through the expanded mind that you take the first steps toward creating your destiny. How to functionally expand the brain and open the doors to the divine mind. This is not done in a flash of illumination. It is not a one-step divine glorification. The sacred path to enlightenment is achieved through intentional steps. In metaphysics, there are many who want to open the book of knowledge and jump to the final chapter, but that's not how it works. Start with self-analysis by carefully examining what works and what does not work for you. In this method, you allow new and expansive ideas of the divine mind to penetrate your brain as high-frequency thinking. Then you process and contemplate it. And then experiences the new concept, welcoming it, externalizing it, living it. You must develop it and lead it with emotion, and live the new information so that it becomes knowledge and wisdom. The static in the field. The question that prevents most human beings from changing their beliefs is the blind acceptance of three-dimensional mental programming. You can have positive thoughts, think positive changes, but if in your deepest mind you doubt that they will happen, they will not really happen. Doubt is a blockage that prevents the manifestation of your desires. If you doubt it, you will not believe it. Doubt in the brain creates a biochemical reaction. It activates a neurotransmitter from the brain that flows from the pituitary gland to the pineal and blocks the gateway, preventing it from opening. Doubt is there because you do not believe. As we have already mentioned, the survival aspect of ego personality's brain programming uses fear and duality as an alarm system. However, the flip side of this aspect of duality is that fear, out of context, can reach many negative emotions, including depression, doubt, anger, jealousy, and self-loathing. These emotions are, at their roots, negative aspects of fear, and fear creates static in the auric field and can lead to auric leakage. As it was taught in the Metatronic keys, the human aura must be whole to expand in Americana. A fissured or ruptured auric field is incapable of functioning efficiently in the law of creation. Biochemical process. the imagery thoughts of beliefs that surround it are co-credited in the fields of collectivity by all mankind accordingly in the macro. Individually they are designed according to the coefficient of light of each. All this manifests itself in physical reality. This involves a physical process. The thought frequencies are received digitally and immediately boosted biochemically within the brain. Mental enzymes are connected with the pineal gland. This gland receives them as geocoded light transmissions, and each image, each thought is interpreted and classified according to its energetic signature. Once received by pineal, they must pass through the parameter of the belief program. Your brain investigates what is defined as real or unreal, believable or unbelievable, according to the light coefficient programmed in the brain. Biochemical elements are produced with the ingredient of acceptance or rejection and, as the case may be, open or close the door to the higher mind. These biochemical elements are sent as encoded neurons and constitute the transmission mechanism of this energy thought, containing all the coded data necessary to translate any thought or image into physical reality or not. Thoughts that are consistent with belief move to reproduce the inner image within the brain and through each nerve fiber of the physical body. Therefore, these are the initial flame of gestation for the formation of the new reality. The next step is through clear mental intent, willpower, will driven by the acceleration of emotion and feeling. This done, the physical body releases the target in a digital code for the sublime body, the intact auric field, in a semi-solid, frozen, designed, and accelerated light code from the chakra system. The aura must be intact and perfect in the cycle and reach 13-20-33. He then passes through Merkava to Merkava and Merkanakap. All driven by will. As taught in the Metatronic keys. The clarity and intensity that you place in your desired thought or goal determine, to a great degree, the speed of materialization. Once learned the mechanisms of conscious creation, it is essential to use the motor of genuine desire, with visualization of the image in emotion to complete the process of physical manifestation. The law of conscious creation. There is no physical object around you, nor is there any experience in your life that you have not created. This includes your attitudes and your physical form. Master, there is nothing related to your own physical image that you have not created. In fact, if you were able to see yourself in other incarnations, you would be surprised at how many similar physical characteristics you create in what could be called past or future lives. When you have divine wisdom, you can create unlimited realms. When you have knowledge, there is nothing to fear, for then there is nothing, no element, no government, no understanding that can threaten, enslave, or intimidate you. When knowledge is offered to fear, enlightenment is given. You have a natural rhythm of existence in the physical and non-physical, which are your waking and sleeping states. Dreams constitute one of the greatest natural therapies and act as connections between the realities and inner and outer universes. Your normal consciousness benefits from the excursions and rest in these other non-physical reality fields in which you enter when you sleep. And sleeping consciousness also benefits from frequent excursions in the waking state of physical matter. But we want to tell you that the images you see in both are basically mental interpretations of digital frequency fields of the basic units of consciousness. The frequency your brain receives is actually a digital code, a crystalline pattern of symbols that you interpret and translate into images and feelings. Accepting that you create your dreams is not as difficult for you as accepting that you also create your physical reality, but you actually create both. However, you determine, through your belief system, whether they are objective or subjective, reality or fantasy. When you truly believe in your inherent ability to create, you will make a quantum leap. Returning to emphasize the block of doubt. The question that prevents most human beings from changing their beliefs is the blind acceptance of three-dimensional mental programming. You can have positive thoughts, think positive changes, but if in your deepest mind you doubt that they will happen, they will not really happen. So let's go back to programming and its effect on manifestation within the law of attraction. Doubt is a blockage that prevents the manifestation of your desires. If you doubt it, you will not believe it. Doubt in the brain creates a biochemical reaction. It activates a neurotransmitter from the brain that flows from the pituitary gland to the pineal and blocks the gateway, preventing it from opening. Doubt is there because you do not believe. The pineal. For many ages it has been known that pineal is the point of contact between the higher dimensions and the physical realm. It can then be said that it is the portal between the personality of the ego, the brain and the divine mind. It has been called by metaphysicians like Descartes and Edgar Cayce of the seat of the soul. Pineal is responsible for bringing knowledge to manifestation in reality. Pineal works with the pituitary to open the bridge, the portal between the physical and the non-physical, between the brain and the mind. Any knowledge in which you allow yourself to believe can only come true if pineal first opens the door to the divine. She does this by translating the frequency of thought into a thermal biochemical electrical current that runs through her body and opens up to the mind. Your human brain transforms the thoughts you generate into thousands of biochemical elements every second. Not all thoughts of the common brain reach the higher mind, as we have already explained. Divine mind. Divine wisdom comes from the divine mind, and when you allow the mind to reign over the personality of the ego, you attain the wisdom of divine creativity. This wisdom, distilled from knowledge, is what gives you the ability to penetrate the law of creation. Once you penetrate it, know what you want to create and then act in that direction. The human body is an instrument that can be used to access the incredible and extraordinary energies of the divine. But there are certain principles for accessing the divine. When the body is well tuned, wisdom is attained. The aura is held in balance to reach the Merkana, and the doors of the law of creation through the law of belief and attraction are opened. For this to happen, all systems must work in balanced synchrony. If you use your body for physical satisfaction and not as an instrument for attaining divine, you will reap what you have planted. Shutting down. You are always the master of your experiences. Even in your states of greatest abandonment and apparent helplessness, you are the author of every atom of this experience. However, if you use determination and wisdom, having the responsibility to reflect on your situation and diligently seek the law under which existence is established, then you become the wise master, directing your energies with intelligence, and forming thoughts oriented to a worthy focus and for the realization. One thought attracts another. Positive energy attracts more positive energy. One intelligent thought attracts another. Likewise, if you live in self-pity, depression, and low-esteem issues, you attract more of it to yourself. This is the law of attraction. So is the conscious human being, the master, and you can only evolve in this way if you discover within yourself the laws of conscious creation. And, in fact, with the discovery of creativity, you learn that this is a regulated science. This discovery awaits every human being. It is a question of application, self-analysis, and experience. Master, as has already been said, you are a powerful spiritual being who is going through a human experience. You are truly a magnificent being of power, intelligence, and love. You can, in fact, intentionally manifest your world and in doing so experience what has been called the kingdom of heaven. Conscious creation is your destiny, and you can make of your life the golden experience that you responsibly desire. I am Metatron with Tiburon of the Crystalline Service, and we share with you these truths. You are loved. And so it is, and so it is.